Hey, today I'm going to give you a couple pointers on how to convert a recipe to traditional formats. Pretty simple, but there's a couple things I need to point out that if you don't get them right, you won't get credit at all. All right, so here's our peach cobbler recipe. Let's go ahead and open that. All right, so a traditional format is traditional: title, ingredients, procedure. So you're going to start with, you're going to open up a document. Let's go ahead. I like to split the screen in two. So we're going to split the screen in two here and put a new one here. Open up let's see, let's open up a blank document first. And down here is blank. There we go. Okay. Let's put our title in first. Can we copy this? Control C means copy. Control V is paste. All right. Now, for some reason, we are centered. We don't need that. So let's make our text left justified from here on out. Okay. Control C is copy. Control V is paste. Oh, I know why we're centering. All right. Now, this should take this. All right. Okay. Put our ingredients in. Control C. Okay. All our ingredients. You don't need to watch me put in all the ingredients. Okay. So down here somewhere we have, I'm just going to skip ahead. Let's do this. I'll pause it. Okay, I skipped ahead and I've got all my ingredients in. I didn't want you to have to sit there and watch me as I copy and paste all my ingredients. So there's all of our ingredients. So we have the first 2 out of 3 parts of a traditional recipe. We get our title at the top. We have our ingredients next. Now we go to procedure. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Here is our step 1. Now, you copy it, go over here. Now, some people like to number their steps. Some people don't. I'm going to go ahead and number this. I'm going to go 1. And there is my first step. Now, you do not, unless you want a 0 on this, do not move on yet. Because look at the direction. It says mix together in a large mixing bowl by hand. But it doesn't specify what we are mixing together. Over here on the graphic, we knew what to mix together because the box told us we're going to mix sugar, both flours, baking powder, and cream together in a large mixing bowl. We did not specify it here in the box because the box itself specifies what we're going to mix together. But here we don't have any boxes, so we have to use words. So there's a number of ways we could do this. We could say mix together 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, first 5 ingredients in a large mixing bowl by hand. Or we could say mix sugar, flours, baking powder, and cream together in a large mixing bowl by hand. Okay, now we have an acceptable direction there. Just saying mixing together in just doing this right here, mixing together in a large mixing bowl by hand, is not acceptable because we don't know what we're mixing. So each time you add a direction, you have to specify what it is you're doing it with. Okay. Step 2 here. Combining a warm baking dish. What are we combining? We are combining our batter and butter in the warm baking dish. Okay, now I made a mistake because I actually skipped on to step 3. Let's go back and look at step 2. Step 2 is this. Because this has to be done before we get to this step. So let me back up here. I hope you'll forgive me for making a mistake. All right, so it says melt in a 9 by 13-inch baking dish in oven. Again, this doesn't say what we're melting, but this has to say what we're melting. What are we melting? We are melting our butter in a 9 by 13-inch baking dish in the oven. Notice, I do not give measurements here. I don't say half a cup of flour, teaspoon of baking powder, all that's up here. Whether it's graphic or traditional, we don't restate the measurements unless we have two of the same thing. We have some butter here and some butter there, and some of the butter goes in at one point and other butter goes in at another point, then we need to specify which butter is which. But we only have one butter, so we say combine butter, batter, and butter. Oops, excuse me, back up. Melt butter. How much butter? We look at the top here to see 1 stick and a 9 by 13-inch baking dish in the oven. Okay, so the rest I think you can figure out on your own by yourself.